Now, into the investigation of Keli Lane, a case filled with secret pregnancies, lies, a missing baby, and a missing lover. The water polo star kept 3 secret pregnancies from everyone. First, it was a baby girl born in 1995 who she gave up for adoption legally but secretly. The second was baby Tegan, born in 1996, who she claims she gave to the father named Andrew Morris. The third was a baby boy in 1999 who she also gave up for adoption secretly. It wasn't until the checks were being made for the third baby's adoption that the mystery of baby Tegan's birth and disappearance becomes uncovered. Keli was described as a notorious baby killer. In 2018, she tried to change her name as she contacted journalist Karen Meldrum Hannah, as she received a letter from Keli Lane asking her to reinvestigate her case, and the journalist agreed to look into it. The letter began by saying, "My name is Keli Lane, and I've been wrongly convicted of murdering my baby in 1996. Now stay tuned to reveal information and insight of Keli Lane's life." The disappearance of baby Tegan was around 14th of September in 1996. When Keli gave birth in 1999 and put the baby up for adoption, a social worker employed by the Department of Community Services, John Bromvik, inquired about Keli's other children. She denied that Tegan or her other child had ever been born, insisting this was her first birth. Several days later, Keli changed her story and claimed that Tegan lived in Perth. When the child could not be traced, the social worker contacted the police and informed them on a missing child of 3 years. Police didn't take the case seriously, and he remained inactive till 2001, which results in a negative as it demonstrates limited accessibility and an inefficient use of resources.
She is just one cold-blooded killer.
In 2001, Detective Matthew Kehoe asked suspected offender Keli Lane to attend an interview at Manly Police Station.
What happened subsequent to that?
After a brief affair with the father of the child, I gave birth. We made an arrangement that he would come and take custody of Tegan, as I was unable to take care of her myself, and he dropped me home and then took Tegan with him into his care.
Okay. And you told me that the person that you is the natural father of the child is Andrew Morris. Is that correct?
That's correct.
In this interview, Keli tells police she gave Tegan to her biological father, Andrew Morris. In this interview, it restricts access to the law as Keli did not have access to legal representation. After the first interview, another was constructed 2 years later in 2003. The interview in 2003 consisted of Keli Lane denying that she didn't kill the victim Tegan and changed Andrew Morris's name to Andrew Norris. This raised suspicion to society and the police. Police became aware of Andrew's address from 1996 and they spoke to some tenants and owners that lived there. No one knew the name Andrew Norris, and in fact nobody with that name lived at that unit at that time. All documents prior to December 1995 has been destroyed. At this time, Detective Gore obtained a warrant to tap Keli's phone. Legal measures such as the police started an extensive search for the child and her father. Another interview was constructed by Detective Gore in 2004. New South Wales Police assisting claims. What stood out for me is how concerned and stressed she was of people finding out. Keli Lane decides to tell her parents about the investigation. January 2004, Manly Police referred Tegan's disappearance to the New South Wales coroner for an inquiry. Carl Miller-Novak places a non-publication order to the Lane matter as he offers her immunity at a coronial inquest if she told authorities what happened to her baby. Keli turned down the get-out-of-jail-free card and maintained her story that she gave Tegan to her biological father 2 days after giving birth. The child was never seen again, and the inquest determined that she was convicted of murder. Keli returned to the court and had nothing to help her case, which causes Carl to lift the non-publication order. June 2005, Sergeant Beecroft tries to obtain records relating to Keli's possible contact with Andrew Norris or Morris in 1996 but was never obtained. The search for Andrew was incomplete and fractured. August 2006, Sharon Rhodes reinvestigates the case after finding no evidence of Tegan's body. Legal responses also tapped Keli Lane's phone and her flat in Mandy's Bug. November 2008, the Unsolved Homicide Squad has been investigating Keli for 2 years. They haven't obtained an admission of murder from Keli Lane. Police treated this disappearance with murder, hence an offence against the person. After a while of investigations made by a variety of legal responses, Tegan and Andrew remain missing, and the DNAs will only be revealed if they are found. Keli Lane tells journalists what happened the day she gave Tegan to her father. Keli remembers the day with Tegan asleep. She's so beautiful and she's asleep and she was tucked with this capsule. I was very upset, I was crying, and Andrew was with his mother. They had obviously been sitting in the chairs waiting and they stood up as we approached, and I got a feeling of, is this the right thing to do? I looked at them, and not to judge, but I didn't know them. Legal responses such as the police assisted in a collection of gathering evidence through this investigation. This was done by various interviews and searches, but no evidence was gathered to prove the death of Tegan, as there was no evidence of a death, no body found, no weapon, no witnesses, and no confessions. The time of Keli leaving Auburn Hospital remains unknown. Keli also attends a wedding 48 hours after giving birth. The only evidence gathered is that there is a proof a baby was born due to hospital records. Violation of the individual human rights are highlighted as she was convicted of murder without evidence. This also goes against the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, Article 11, innocent until proven guilty. Keli states the reason for Andrew's full custody of Tegan was because she was mentally or financially capable to cater for baby Tegan, while Andrew was financially stable with a partner and took care of Tegan. She suggested it was more suitable for Tegan. The effectiveness of the non-legal measures such as the media raised awareness and kept the community updated. Media accounts such as Facebook were made. The ABC account received 12,000 followers in 24 hours. Also, updates and tweets were posted on Instagram, Apple News, news articles, and Twitter. The ABC documentary provides the community with full understanding and knowledge of the series of events that happened in the Keli Lane case. The ABC team has received thousands of emails and messages with tips and possible leads, which inspired the setting up of a groundbreaking Facebook page. That's attracted more than 32,000 members, keen to keep following the story and help solve the case. This is a positive as people wanted to remain connected to the case. Legal measures such as the police and elite legislation helped achieve justice for the community. The police played a vital role as they were continuing the extensive search and did all they can to find Tegan and her father and gather information. Legislation helps achieve justice as it maintains fairness, equality, and is accessible to all people. The legal and non-legal measures are compliant as they provide opportunity for achieving justice. The offender was charged in November 2009 and the trial began in August 2010, which is a negative due to the 1-year gap. There was a 13-year gap between the crime and the offender being charged, which does not use resources efficiently. Keli also pleaded not guilty for murdering her 2-day-old baby and believes that Tegan is somewhere in Australia, alive, well, and living with her father. The defense team's strategy was that Keli is innocent, no justification or defense is needed, which resulted in Keli Lane not giving evidence. Defense barrister Keith Chappell was assigned to the case 3 weeks before the trial. His defense was they can't prove how, when, where, or even why Keli would murder her newborn child. They can't even prove that child is dead. The defense team called on 0 witnesses and Sarah Rhodes states they were not ready to go to trial. This limits the enforceability of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights as Article 6 states right to a fair trial. This was not enforced and seen as a negative. Andrew Morris was called for a testimony but was later on dismissed in court. Mr. Morris was tracked down and now doubts whether he ever met Keli Lane. He claims he was led to believe that's who I slept with. In order to illustrate doubt of guilt, the defense team argued the search for Andrew and Tegan weren't complete and not found, causing the judge frustration. The body of Tegan has yet to be discovered or found and could not prove Tegan was dead. Investigators were implying themselves and lacked commitment, and school searches for Tegan weren't consistent. This is a positive as it raised doubt of guilt, but also a negative as doubt wasn't enough for the jury to think she was innocent. The prosecution had no case. The only case they could make was constructed around the lies Keli has told. Mr. Tedeschi said we had to prove death without a body. We had to prove that whatever happened to baby Tegan, that she was deliberately murdered by Keli Lane. The prosecution uses a defense that Andrew might not even exist and that Keli murdered her baby. The number of witnesses called by the prosecution during the trial was 75. The nurse who discharged Keli from the hospital returns to the stand and admits the time record of her leaving could have possibly been earlier. The time changed from 2 p.m. to 12 p.m. This recollection of memory gave the prosecutors a new timeline. It shows that Keli leaving the hospital at 2 p.m. and being at her parents' house on Sydney's North Shore an hour later to attend a friend's wedding that afternoon. This shows that Keli had only a matter of a few minutes to kill Tegan and dispose her body. The jury deliberation took 8 days. According to Judge Wheatley, jury deliberation was lengthy, the voting was close, and jury was in conflict. The judge also felt that the prosecution had not established a case beyond a reasonable doubt. The judge also said he'd had some doubt and never been certain. When the trial was over, Judge Wheatley said he had such an emotional, harrowing trial that I felt at the end I could do no more. I felt worn out from it and I suppose just emotionally affected by it. 11 jurors felt Lane was guilty of killing her daughter, while one thought she was innocent, which resulted in a majority verdict, the role of discretion in criminal justice system, and judge discretion. Keli Lane received a guilty verdict. Keli was guilty of Count 1 murder, Crimes Act 1900, with the maximum penalty of life imprisonment. 3 counts of perjury, Crimes Act 1900, with the maximum penalty of 10 years. These 4 counts of guilt led to a conviction of 18 years in jail for murdering her newborn baby, Tegan Lane, and 3 counts of perjury. Keli was eligible for parole on 12th of May 2023, after serving a period of 13 years and 5 months in custody.
Ms Lane, I should explain to you then that the overall sentence for the murder charge is imprisonment for a term of 18 years. You are to serve a non-parole period. The term of the non-parole period is such that you must serve 13 years and 5 months in prison before becoming eligible for parole.
After hearing the verdict, Keli and her mother collapsed in a courtroom. Her harsh punishment and conviction demonstrates a visual representation of the law not being moral and ethical, as there is no evidence. The guilty verdict sacrifices the individual's rights in favor of meeting society's needs. To an extent, the law only balanced the rights of the victim and society and not for the offender, Keli Lane. After a conviction in the Supreme Court, Lane applied for an appeal in the High Court. Her reason for the appeal was because she believed she was innocent. It was seen as an opportunity for resolving conflict and for wanting justice, but her application to appeal was unsuccessful, and she was not responsive to her needs. Her lawyers also tried to argue for a lesser conviction of manslaughter, but were unsuccessful. In the recent ABC documentary, we are revealed to new discoveries, such as a witness who lived in the same apartment as Andrew Morris has been found. The witness admits he has seen Keli leaving the apartment a couple of times late at night and that the police has never interviewed him. Also, Keli announces a bombshell recently stating that she didn't know if the biological father's name was Andrew Morris or Norris. I don't know if what he told me was the truth. Maybe I've made a mistake. It was the first time Lane admitted that Tegan's father might not be a man known as Andrew Morris or Norris. A sketch of Andrew was illustrated and used for the search. Keli Lane has agreed to be assessed face-to-face by a forensic psychiatrist, Dr. Ann. Dr. Ann states the results. Keli is not evil, not diagnosed as a pathological liar, and not mentally ill. She also believes Tegan is alive. The journalist from the ABC documentary says, "We've gone back to her family, her boyfriends, her water polo teammates, her friends, looked at police investigations, and went through the trial, but we've been led to a dead end." Baby Tegan has last been seen alive in 1996 at Auburn Hospital. This case will remain a mystery, as I believe the search and investigations haven't been conducted well. This results in a miscarriage of justice, as the law doesn't balance the right of the offender, as she was convicted with no evidence. The ABC documentary has opened eyes to the courts, as Cara Meldrum Hannah says. The doubts about the fairness of the murder trial are out there now for all to see, and now there's an official request with the New South Wales Attorney General Mark Speakman to call an urgent inquiry and review of the police and prosecutorial practices that led to Lane's conviction. To conclude, the recent updates on this case demonstrates it wasn't conducted properly in the past. Also, in my opinion, the search for Tegan must continue, as the offender should receive justice and for the society to know the truth.